I've been informed that we need to do an analysis of the biggest hit on Amazon, Mr. Beast's show over on Amazon. So this is kind of fascinating. It's called Beast Games. And full disclosure, I know some of the people associated with making the show. Beast Games is, I will say, it's got like a 13% critics rating. It is highly watchable, like really watchable. It's kind of real life Squid Games. And there are a bunch of various sort of cultural analyses that have been done of Beast Games. The most common one that I've seen is that it's a critique of capitalism. First of all, let me explain. It is absolutely not a critique of capitalism. In fact, the setup for the show is the opposite of capitalism. For the setup is that 1,000 contestants compete in physical, mental, and social challenges for a chance to win a $5 million cash prize, a $1.8 million private island, and more. And so, that's not capitalism, because it's definitionally a zero-sum game. Capitalism is not a zero-sum game. Capitalism is the opposite of a zero-sum game. It's also not like capitalism in that it is not an iterative game, meaning you're in or you're out. The thing about capitalism is if you cheat somebody in a capitalist system, you can cheat one guy, but you really can't cheat like five. Because if you keep cheating people over and over, they stop doing business with you. It's one of the great disincentives to cheat people under capitalism. This is a point that's been made by Adam Smith, is that capitalism, as practiced, actually makes you more ethical in business because you need to give somebody a product that they want and it can't malfunction. Because if it malfunctions, they're not going to buy from you again. So there are a bunch of distinctions between what you're watching here and capitalism. The left likes to think that capitalism is a zero-sum game, that it's a bunch of people competing for a bag of cash. That's not what capitalism is. In fact, capitalism makes everybody richer. This is much more like communism, where you have a bag of cash, and then the question is just how that cash gets divided up. And predictably, when it comes to a bag of cash and how it gets divided up, it turns out that the people who are the most scurrilous and underhanded are the people who are going to be the most likely to have the dasha on the water, and everybody else is going to get victimized by those people. It turns out that human nature is to maximize the return to you at the cost of somebody else, unless all boats are rising. Right? That is just human nature. You're going to defend yourself and your family before you defend other people. That is just the way of human nature. Greed is a universal human phenomenon. Pretending it away doesn't make it go away. The great lie of communism is that if you have a grab bag of cash, magically greed will just disappear if you force everybody to take the same amount. And it's a lie, and it never works, because human nature is still human nature. The only thing that can get past human greed is mutual dependence, which is what capitalism creates. Free trade, mutual dependence, free exchange. That's the sort of stuff that creates better behavior and creates an incentive structure that leads you to channel your particular greed toward actually helping somebody else, because you're not going to get what you want unless you give somebody else what they want. I've described capitalism as effectively forced altruism, and that's correct. So I'm putting that out there because there have been a bunch of articles that are basically suggesting that the Beast Games are a sort of critique of capitalism. That's only if you really, really don't understand capitalism. If you understand that this isn't capitalism, it's a grab bag of cash, then basically all of Beast Games can be reduced to a repeated iteration of the prisoner's dilemma. Let's talk about what this game looks like. It's the prisoner's dilemma. So for those of you who don't know some game theory, basic game theory is basically an attempt to quantify how decisions get made based on available possible outcomes. So the perfect example of a sort of game theory is prisoner's dilemma. So prisoner's dilemma is a situation where you have two guys who commit a crime together. One of them is brought into one room by the cops. The other is brought into another room by the cops. And they are given a series of options. Okay? They're each told, you can confess or you can stay quiet. Now, if you stay quiet and your partner confesses, that is the worst case outcome for you. You refuse to talk to the cops and your partner confesses, then you are going to get 10 years in prison and your partner gets 0 because he gets the benefit. He flipped on you, but you didn't flip on anybody. So you get the maximum sentence. You get a 10-year sentence. If you both stay quiet, then you both go to jail for a year. If you both confess, then you're both going to jail for 6 years. So the question is, where are you going to end up? And the answer is, it depends on how much you trust your partner. So here is that drawn out, right? You have player 1 over here. He has 2 options, to confess or to stay quiet. Player 2 also has 2 options, to confess or to stay quiet. If they both confess, they both get 6 years. If they both stay quiet, they both get 1 year in prison. If you confess and the other guy stays quiet, then you get 0 years and he gets 10 years. And the precise opposite is true if your partner does that to you. So the most obvious outcome typically is that everybody sort of loses because you don't want the 10-year sentence. Right? If you don't trust your partner a lot that he's going to shut up, if he ain't your brother or something, you are immediately going to confess, and so will he. And then you're going to end up in this box, right? That is the equilibrium. That's where everybody's going to end up, typically speaking. Okay, the reason that I bring this up is because when you look at sort of the outcome of these various games, they match that sort of human behavior. So much of this show is kind of fascinating just because it is a way of assessing in real life sort of Bayesian risk calculations. I want to go through some of them because, again, I think people are reading the show wrong. They're reading it as sort of critique of culture, and there is some of that in here. They have a bunch of Gen Z morons who somehow are of the opinion that they're best friends with everybody, and so they keep getting screwed. Like over and over and over. They keep doing the thing where they stay quiet, and then the Gen Xer is like, I don't even know you, bro. I don't even know you, bro. And so the player who ends up staying quiet, the Gen Zer, ends up here in sort of the quiet box and ends up getting 10 years in prison. And meanwhile, the Gen Xer is like, I don't know you, bro. I'm going to confess. And he ends up getting the benefit of that particular bargain. So the answer there is Gen Zers are naive about the world, and they've been misinformed as to how humanity actually works. Okay, but there are some other sort of interesting Bayesian situations that arise here, risk calculation situations that arise here. So let's go through some of them. The first episode involves the sacrifice of a team member. Okay, so this is the first challenge. The contestants are teamed up by row. One player from each row has to eliminate or sacrifice themselves so the rest of their row can move on. The last three rows standing that have not eliminated someone are all eliminated. Okay, so if everyone refuses to sacrifice themselves, then the entire row is eliminated. One person has to throw themselves on the grenade, for example. Now, as you'll see, many of the rows end up being eliminated. 3 of the rows end up being eliminated because nobody sacrifices themselves, because why would you? Your expected outcome then is 0. And so here's what it looked like.
One more thing. This game has already started. And it will not end until the last 3 rows to eliminate someone will all be eliminated together. Only 9 of the 12 rows will be moving on.
Come on! Click it! Come on!
Oh, whoa! That was good!
Let's go! Stay!
Congrats! Wait, come on, quick!
Please! Let's go!
Come on, guys, or we're all gonna go!
Press it!
Okay, so some people are hitting it and taking the hit for the team. Everybody's yelling at other people. But why would you sacrifice yourself for the team? The reason, again, that people aren't doing it is because of the prisoner's dilemma. You don't want to be the guy. This is a clear case where you take the hit and you go to jail and everybody else gets to stay. Why would you possibly do that? There's no upside for you other than maybe a couple of seconds on camera as the supposed hero. So again, is that an expose of capitalism? This has nothing to do with capitalism. This has to do with basic human motivation. We'll get to more on this in a moment. First, let's talk about something that affects millions of Americans every single day: debt. It's rough watching your hard-earned money go straight to paying off credit cards and loans, feeling like you're just treading water. That's why I want to tell you about PDS Debt. PDS Debt is different from other debt solutions. They actually take the time to understand your specific situation and create a personalized plan that works for you. Whether you're dealing with credit cards, personal loans, collections, or medical bills, they've got options. What's really great about them, there's no minimum credit score required. PDS Debt strives to understand your specific scenario that can help provide alternative solutions to becoming debt-free. They'll help you save more and pay off your debt faster so you can finally start building that savings account. Getting started, super simple. Go to pdsdebt.com/Shapiro, complete your free debt assessment, see what options are available to you. Every day you wait, it's costing you money. Get started with your free debt analysis in just 30 seconds at pdsdebt.com/Shapiro. That's pdsdebt.com/Shapiro. Take back control today. Visit pdsdebt.com/Shapiro to check them out right now. Again, pdsdebt.com/Shapiro. Do not let yourself get behind that debt 8-ball. Instead, head on over to pdsdebt.com/Shapiro to get started. Meanwhile, next episode, episode 2, there is a challenge in which team leaders are given an opportunity. They get to receive $1 million, and if they take the $1 million, their team goes home. Or to not take the $1 million and their team remains. Now remember, the big prize is $5 million. I'm just going to put it out here. If you were a team leader here and you didn't take the $1 million, you're a moron. This is a competitive game. There will be one person who wins and many people who lose. You're a stupid person if you don't take the $1 million. You don't know these people. It is a competitive game. It doesn't make you self-sacrificial. It doesn't make you a saint. It doesn't make you a martyr. It is the nature of the constructed game as it is. Your expected value, if you do not take the $1 million, is you divided by the entire corpus of people who are left in the game. There are like 500 people left in the game. So your expected value of the $5 million for 500 people is 1/500th of $5 million. Okay, so that is 5 million divided by 500. In other words, 10 grand. Okay, so you are giving up $1 million for a 10 grand expected value. So you're an adult if you don't take the $1 million. Here's the clip.
What is going on? Dino!
Okay, so people are not taking the $1 million to eliminate their team.
Holy moly! This is real money! Real money!
Why won't they just take the money? Just take the money, dude. Just take the money.
Don't do it!
I cannot believe what I am seeing. 5.
They're just so self-sacrificial, or they're being stupid about the nature of the game. If you go to this game in the first place, you should be taking the $1 million. You're the winner.
3, 2.
Aye. People they don't understand expected value calculations, or they think the social sanction is so strong that they can't take the $1 million. Take the $1 million and run, my man. That is quite foolish. Quite foolish. Okay, so another sort of social experiment that was played was episode 8. Okay, in this particular episode, there was a bag of cash, and contestants were asked sequentially to take money from the bag of cash. How much money are you going to take? It's like $1 million in the bag, and there are 10 people on each team, or there's 10 contestants left at this point in the whole game. And how much money do you take? Now, again, the amount of money that you take is going to determine whether you get eliminated or not. If you just go and grab all the cash, presumably everybody then votes to eliminate you because you took all of the cash. This is a basic expected risk. This is a basic expected value calculation here. Right, there are 10 players left, correct? Okay, so there are 10 players left. There's $1 million in the bag. So you currently have a 1 in 10 shot at winning $5 million. Your expected value becomes $500,000. This is fun. I get to teach like basic statistics to folks. Fun. Okay, so your expected value is now $500,000. Okay, or if you walk in and you take anything more than $500,000, it's guaranteed. This means you're a fool not to take more than $500,000 from the bag because your expected value is now higher than $500,000. Only one person was smart enough to do this, and then he was crying about it. Why are you crying about it, dude? It's a competitive game. That's the nature of the game. It'll make you a bad person. I would have taken the money. Because these people are not on your team. They will all be eliminated. Again, this is not like capitalism, and it's not like your church. It's not like your family. You don't know these people. The bizarre attempt by the producers to sort of create this, oh, you're part of a community now. You have a stake in these people. You love them, and they love you. Ah. So only one dude played this game correctly.
Oh, wow. If you had to pick one person out of the 10 people remaining, you're like, I feel like they would take more than 10%.
I genuinely don't think anyone would, because we've all come so far for a reason, so we're all deserving of this, and anyone who is ill intent coming in or has sabotaged anyone else is already out.
$677,000
naive
remains.
child.
I didn't expect that at all.
Gen Z.
Really?
Yeah, this is guaranteed money.
It's your money.
I would pay off my mortgage and my debt
How much debt?
a lot.
Do you feel comfortable sharing?
With mortgage, credit cards, loans, I probably owe about $530.
Whoa, you can take exactly what you need to pay off all your debt.
JC, I trust more than anyone here because he was
take
in
all
my
of it.
red cube box challenge with me.
In such a short amount of time, I've grown to love you guys like if you were my daughters. Until you said I want to take care of you, but I don't know what to do right now.
And he said he'd take me to the top,
Oh
and
my
now I'm
gosh.
number 4.
See, that's the schmucky part. Don't pretend that they're like your daughters. They're not. You don't know these people.
Whatsoever. I trust every one of them.
I know I'm gonna have a target on my back, but I'm not guaranteed the $5 million
It's
either.
a competition show. See, people are going to watch me and my take on this, and they're going to be like, how dare you be so cruel? It's a competition show. This is like saying that Patrick Mahomes should deliberately throw interceptions to achieve fairness in the Super Bowl. It is a competition show. There are winners and there are losers. If you don't buy into the premise of the show, don't go on the show. If you went on the show to make friends, you need to have a better life. That's all. The latest episode of Beast Game, episode number 9. Player 566 was sent home in this episode. So there are 6 players left, And Mr. Beast gave the final 6 contestants a chance to flip a coin to double the money available, making it $10 million available to the pool as opposed to $5 million. If you flip wrong, you're eliminated. And the episode ends with somebody flipping the coin, but you don't see what happens. Okay, now, again, it is perfectly rational to both flip the coin and not flip the coin. Either decision is perfectly rational. Basic expected return calculation here. You have a 1 in 6 chance of winning $5 million, or you have a 1 in 12 chance of winning $10 million. Okay, that's the same expected value. So whether you flip the coin or whether you don't flip the coin, just in terms of risk assessment, it's irrelevant. Your expected value at the end is exactly the same. So there's no moral component to that. There's nothing makes you better or worse for flipping the coin or not flipping the coin, or even makes you smarter or not as smart for not flipping the coin. A Hollywood Reporter reports that professional TV reviewers have called this a sad reflection of our modern times. One of the most undignified spectacles ever shown on TV, a deafening, joyless cash dash. I don't know if you see it as a sort of social experiment that just reveals preferences, then it's kind of interesting that way. The only thing that would make it joyless is if you expect that all these people are not in a competition show and really it's like you battling members of your family, but it ain't. It isn't. It would be a joyless competition show if this was like you doing this to your own kids, not some random people who you're in a stated competition show with. Alrighty, that's the analysis of Beast Games. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.